How fast can you team up with others when every meeting is different and the players always change? When work is a real-time conversation among experts across geographies and time zones, jazz musicians can play together, often without rehearsals. To be effective, we use professional code, the JazzCode.
When you and I, Carl, were talking about bass players and who we wanted, the first name that came up was Cameron Brown.
I've been playing professionally since 1972, so that's quite a while now.
Maybe I'll put it in that back seat, Carl, that nobody's sitting in.
I started playing saxophone when I was 9 years old, right on the tenor. No clarinet or alto, I went right to the tenor. 50s and 60s rock and roll influence made me want to choose that instrument.
First time in Europe, huh? First time in Europe.
This is Jamie Reynolds, piano player, and me, Carl Stormer, on the cell phone and drums. The plan was to play 2 concerts and record a CD in only a few days. Our first gig was only a few hours away.
So we're playing, today we're playing all the original tunes of Rob's that I've never played before. And we start playing at 9. At 9? Yes.
One of the benefits of jazz is that you can get together with players and play on very short notice and adapt. And we think this is one of the reasons why it's so relevant for strategy.
You know, in McKinsey we are almost famous for directing strategies, shaping strategies. The issue with shaping strategies, of course, is that the duration of a competitive strategy is very short these days. And it's due to the fact that everything is changing fast. Transaction costs are getting down. You can almost copy everything. So, you know, the duration of our strategies used to be a 5-year strategy plan. Today, after 5 months, it may be simply out of fashion. So the issue is, how can we actually create competitive advantage inside people and inside cultures?
When you're trying to assemble a team, you look for people with common interests and a common purpose.
Yeah.
And then you have to sort of get right to the nitty-gritty of what songs are we playing and what key, and are we using an intro, are we repeating anything, or are we doing it the obvious way that we have always done it? Because if you don't know people, you have to say, everybody plays this in D flat, but is that where you want to play it? You know, are we on the same page?
You know, we're playing all these new tunes. I've never played them before. You know, so we never played together before today. So we'll go through some stuff on the sound check.
If you're playing jazz standards, usually all over the world, people are pretty much on the same page. But you kind of have to ask, because otherwise you could start the piece and people are in 2 different rooms. You know, so you do have to confer kind of quickly. Do we agree about how we're going to do this? So let's. There's so much to do, and it's so late. Let's try Priestess, okay? And the order of entrance is bass, piano, drums, and Carl, the form doesn't start till I start the sax melody. Okay? Let me know when you're ready. Okay.
When you're in the music, you have to concentrate on the interaction, on being in sync with the other players. You can't check your cell phone or worry about your performance. If you think too much, if there is too much information, or if you are unclear about the roadmap, you create uncertainty among the other players. All of a sudden, you become the bottleneck.
You know what? I don't care what you play. I don't care if it's the bass drum or the snare, but the shit has to be in the pocket.
I'm a big fan of less information.
I know, that's why I'm actually thinking you might want to stick with the one you have.
Less information and simplicity is good.
Individuals, teams, we have such a high potential. But potential minus interferences, that's performance. There's lots of interferences in life that blocks us from reaching our potential.
You know, when you're working in a group setting and trying to solve a problem or figure out the direction that you're going, it's nice to have your own idea, but it's nice to stay very open to other people's ideas. Even as you listen to them at first, they seem contradictory to your idea, or you may disagree, but it's important to listen to them, you know, tell their whole idea, and then sometimes it happens that the 2 ideas can meet in a way that you didn't think about before. So basically, you know, working in this way, I think we need to listen and stay open and be able to hold our own preconceived ideas kind of open for change also.
So the form is
AAB, right?
yeah, AAB. 8 of Latin, 8 of swing.
We look at it one more time.
And all swing.
Forgot
on
it.
Oh,
You're pointing at me.
You almost have to simplify the other things that you're doing in order to kind of realize that complex game plan.
groove key.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
the whole form as it is on the paper happens at the end of the song.
Yeah, on the way out, we'll
Okay.
play a head out, and then we'll vamp and fade,
Okay.
more or less. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Okay.
We're good.
And the other thing is, just real quick, I know it's a lot of information, but if we want to, we can do that shit. We can do that break in the middle of somebody's solo. You know, Jamie can be blowing, and we put "Baba do da da oh da 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 ba da," and then that takes him up a notch for the rest of his solo.
Right.
So that's an option we have. That's all I wanted to. Okay.
I think it's very important that you build a team where the rules are clear, so you can use all your mental capacity to actually improvise in the moment. That's the secret to building a strong culture. So the issue is, how do you do that?
Through our instruments, we divide work. The sax will play the melody, the drums will play time, and through individual mastery, we release mental capacity to listen and respond to the context and to what the others are doing right there and then.
You know, a lot of the time in jazz, we have, if you timed it on a Swiss timer, half a second to make a choice. When I get done playing the melody, I have to make a choice. Am I going to solo, or am I going to put the instrument down and let the piano player know, no, you go first?
Okay, and the thing is, what we can do is we can cue the last break, the one with the 6/4 bar,
Yeah.
as a little interlude.
Okay.
Like somebody's done,
Right.
and
Oh, good. Okay.
next solo.
And if my decision is I'm going to put the horn on my lap, and when you look at me from the piano, you know for a fact I'm not going to be playing and that you're supposed to start playing. If they're not sure, I point at them. I think in a quartet, any good jazz quartet, I think the idea is everyone is a soloist and everyone is an accompanist. Sometimes your role changes, and you have to be able to shape shift in and out of it smoothly and smartly without showing all the seams all the time.
We must balance between structure and freedom. Certain elements, less sensitive to context, like tempo, style, key, and chords, can be decided up front. But who plays solo when is often decided in the moment, using visual cues based on how we feel and what the music calls for. Being able to see each other is useful. Visual cues can help us plan less, and leadership really rotates based on who has the idea. If someone plays something, you have to go with them and back them up. It's a very democratic form of governance.
That's the form. And maybe at the very end of the song, we'll stay on the E flat over E and fade on that horrible chord.
Rob, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Feels very relaxed over here. Let us build a rhythm section.
Okay, sure.
If you start nitpicking on that stuff,
Okay.
we're really gonna.
Okay.
We have too much to think about.
Okay, I'm
Take
trying to
our
remember.
break here.
Yeah, let's take our break for mics.
Yeah. When you always work in different contexts and teams, the idea of perfection is changing. Perfection is less about playing things perfect and more about making the right choices as to what you play. Improvised music trades perfection for flexibility and contextual fit. And to do that, you have to be in the moment and you have to be ready.
So maybe, what time is it? Should we hit it?
Yeah, we can hit it.
Yeah? You guys ready?
Straight from New York today, on the piano, Jamie Reynolds. Alan Brown on the bass. And Carl Stormer.
Thank you.
Scheps on saxophone. We thank you.
When we try to broaden, so to speak, the sources of inspiration, business often goes to to sports. We get, you know, gold medalists come and tell us how they prepare for the competition, how dedicated they are, how they practice. But most of the time, it's a story about an individual. It's not a story about the team. And since the team dimension is so important in today's world, successful companies are always good at teamwork. So I think the inspiration actually increasingly comes from other fields where people are working in teams collaboratively.
The day after the last gig, we had booked one day to record a CD at Rainbow Studios, one of the best jazz studios in the world.
Well, listen, I just want to tell you, I thought you guys did a fabulous job last night. You were great. Thanks. Thank you. You know, this sounded really good. Everybody was really happy. So I thought that was good.
Good. Well, it takes a lot of pressure off now that that one's over.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, we're trying to make our records, this is easier.
An improvisation is really like a conversation. And the more references you all share, the easier it is to have a good conversation.
Shared references. Well, it's just having a common language, you know? It's like being able to speak French fluently instead of we only know 51 words in French and we hope somebody says one of those words so we understand.
But do you want any kind, do you just want to come right in, so you'll set it up, or do you want me to do something like that?
Well, you know, this kind of tune, to me, this is so bebop.
So
You know, it's like Art Taylor, Philly Joe. Yeah, you could play 4 up front.
The shared references, the point of that is that you've internalized so much information that you share that not so much of your attention has to go there. I don't like to say automatic, but it's almost automatic. And then you have attention to have fun with it and play with it because you've already learned that. I think that's what, in jazz, that's what those references are.
So it's common ground is what it is.
Unlike a pop record, where everything is about perfection, and where one song might take months to produce, we were scheduled to record 10 songs in just one day. In jazz, the conversation is the product, and perfection is about how you respond to the other players in the moment. But how do you know what to play? And when do you have the perfect conversation?
Yeah, I mean, this is the situation where maybe you're not playing a standard song, or you're not playing a typical rhythm, where all those references, they're still there, but you're not really using them in the same way.
So every story, every action, it depends highly about what's the situation. There's no generic answers anymore. It all depends. There's no cookbook.
So vamp, head, 1 chorus piano, 1 chorus flute, head, vamp, fade. It's good to be a Capricorn. Ready? This is Corcovado. Take 1. 1.
Make sure you're rolling pair?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I checked.
No, there's not going to be any guitar on this pair.
That's fine.
Okay, take 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Nah, you got a better beginning than that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
It's sort of dangerous to get into a situation where you're trying to make things perfect. And jazz, by its very definition and its very nature, is not perfect. And sometimes its lack of perfection makes the music itself even more heartwarming, more accessible, more kind of immediate for an audience, that they see you, you know, trying for something that you don't quite make, but sometimes that's more beautiful than if it was perfect.
Being able to, what we call improvise, which sounds like a hazardous risky thing to do, but it's actually the most sensible thing to do.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Because you can't really be relevant unless you truly are acting immersed in the context.
You never really know in the moment what something is. You almost have to listen to what the audience says after you're finished or hear the recording of it. It's not a great idea to try to be monitoring something while you're doing it and deciding how good it is. So when you're in these very free contexts, even more so, you have to let go of that guy who's looking over your shoulder, that monitor.
When recording jazz, you always start by just getting the tracks down. You don't evaluate. And then you come back later, in this case the day after, to mix it.
Hello. Yeah, Rob.
In the end, the music came out great. The JazzCode is really a universal code for teams, how to put them together. Create a common purpose, establish good interactions, and last but not least, have fun.
It seems to me that the JazzCode is relatively simple, but to be a perfectionist and to play at just a world-class level is a lifelong journey. So I think the JazzCode is, from that point of view, an inspirational reference for everyone wanting to play in a team, be it in business, be it in government, or in non-profit organizations. There's parallels between the JazzCode and the code of high-performance teams.
Doesn't mean we don't still have a lot of work. I mean, what have we done now? We finished 8 or 9 songs. And, you know, for your project, we have 20.
We're pretending now that we've finished everything.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, because they want to go home, so they want us to think like, you know, this is it, this is...
Boy, that was great.
I can't say that, no, that's
you know what? Oh, all right. No, that's all. No, you know what? You know why it's okay? Because that's for my record.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
what I should have said. For my tunes. Yeah, so
It's okay.
forget that. That's
Never mind. But I think we're done.